Welcome back to Life for Dave. So in the last video I just got this bonded together, and now what we're going to do is I'm going to mix up some resin and we're going to just glass that in. Some glass torn out there, so that's one for each side. I've got some easy cure resin. So this is basically a resin with wax, so it's not a laminating resin. So if you are making a part where you're laminating different layers together, it sort of all has to be done in one go. If you let it set, then you basically you've got to sand it between layers. I'll need a little bit more than that. I'm basically just guesstimating how much resin I need. Again, I don't like mixing up too much. I don't want to waste it. But there's nothing worse than not quite mixing enough and you know, running out mid-job. Right, so I've got my stuff ready to go. We're going to be using the smaller thin roller for this. Makes it a lot easier to get into the corners whilst I'm rolling that out. Right, let's catalyse this up. These gloves are just starting to get a little bit sticky. But once you let them sit for a while, they'll cure, set up and yeah, carry on. Right. The stirring stick's getting bigger. Just want to make sure there's no loose bits on it, that's all. Ooh, like that one. Don't want lumps in my resin. That's changing colour nicely, so I know we're catalysed. So there's no bits around the edge, and it's all mixed in. Now, get rid of that. And away we go. Right, let's get cracking. So this is still soft, so I don't want to go poking it too much. Because I'll end up moving it around. So I'm just very lightly brushing that over the top, trickling it over really. Letting it run down. I don't want to be poking that bonding paste about too much and introducing gaps where I'm going to get air. Bit of a pool of resin at the bottom there, that's okay. Now when we lay our mat on there, we'll draw that through. That will come through the mat. Line that up in the middle. These clamps are plastic. as we all know, it ain't going to stick to that. Now I'm going to tamp that down with a brush, working out any air and pulling that resin through the glass there. Knock that over slightly. So I'm not going to go right out to the edge of those wisps. They'll be sanded off afterwards. Makes it a lot easier to sand it. And they'll just come straight off. So I'm going to run down a line, roughly the width of the brush there. Tying these two parts together. Like I say, it's not going to be a major structural part, but I do want it to be strong enough that it's not going to fail on me. You know? I could have this boat a number of years, or even if I was to sell it to someone else, you know, I don't want my work falling apart on someone because of a shoddy repair or a part that I've made. You know, I'd like to think that it's done to the best of my abilities and it's not going to fall apart or break on anyone. Yeah, especially when you're using these things out at sea, the last thing you want is something falling apart. It's not like you can just call the AA and get a tow truck out. Yeah, the emergency services at sea is a different thing altogether. Now you're talking the RNLI, you know, they could be putting their lives at risk if it's bad weather to come out and rescue you. So when I make parts, I mean, this isn't structural, like I say, it's not going to affect the boat, but I like to know that it's going to last either way, whatever its purpose, and that I've made it to the best of my abilities. A wee bit of excess resin there, just want to work that into the corner. Drag off that excess resin, and if I pull it up to the edge here, I can sand that away when it's set. So a couple of wispy bits there, not going to worry about all that. That will be sanded off once it's set up. But while that resin in there is nice and soft, it allows me roller to make the radius in the corner. So it squashes that down and then I can roll out that excess resin nice and gently. Be careful, you don't want to drag the glass out of the corner. The roll is sticking a little bit, I think. The only thing on these small ones, that's why I modified this one myself. I put a slightly larger wheel on it because the one that was on here was too thin, and the second you started rolling with it, it would gum up and it wouldn't turn. Which got on me wick, so I made a new one out of an old bolt on a lathe, drilling out the centre. Go right, nice and gently, just checking for any bits that might pull out, air bubbles, voids, making sure you've got rid of them all. Very gently, slowly, work it out. A couple of little wisps can be sanded off after. So I'm not worried about that end piece. It's, you know, the end bits, because I've got my clamps there. I'll take them off afterwards. Right, let's give that a rinse. I'll give my roller a rinse with some acetone. Stops it from sticking as much, hopefully. Right, I'll turn this round to do the other side. I can't grab it by this top section because I don't want that to move, obviously. Nice and gently. There we go. Right. This side's going to make a bit of a mess. Not worried about that. It's going to run down the front. But like I say, I'm not worried about that. That's what I've got the plastic there for. Again, I don't want to move that resin filler too much. I'm just rubbing that over gently. There we go. Take the fiberglass. It's going to go over the top of that, lapping the two halves together. Make that so I can get hold of that a little bit easier. There we go, that's better. Get that out of there quickly. Excess. Like that. Right, with this, if we butter that down, fill in those voids, we'll get rid of some waste, and we can work that down with that bit of glass as well. There we go, two birds, one stone. That will be one part then, it will bond together. Roll that across there, then ends of glass will go over that. That's not going to be the final finish on there. I'll be sanding that down and redoing that corner there anyway. So that'll give me that little transition around there to just lose the edge of that glass around the bend there, like so. And rather than wasting that resin that we mixed up, that bonding paste, we can use it on there. That's looking good. Okay. That excess there. Dripping in resin now. So this has all got to be glassed in place, so it'll all be sanded and glassed in. I can't stand it on the edge because that'll move it. So I'm going to have to lay it back down this way. There we go. So we've glassed in the front section here and the back section. Now we need to let that set up, let it cure, and then that can all be sanded down, and I can take the clamps off, finish the outside edges, and that'll be ready to look at fixing in next time. Right, I'm going to call that it for this one, and I'll catch you all on the next Life of Dave. Thanks for watching.